Hi, everyone. Welcome to our team call this week. I'm sitting in for Scotty as he's sick. I'm Ashley, not Scotty, as you see here, but I'm excited you guys could all make it. I barely finished chapter 6 and 7. But I thought we'd start, unless someone else has another suggestion, on page 112, where it's talking about purpose over profit. And I'm going to read a little section. So under the heading that says purpose over profit, it says, we know that people are substantially more motivated by their organization's transcendent purpose, how it improves lives, than by its transactional purposes, how it sells goods and services. And I kind of felt like that was written just for us. I don't know about you, but that is something we do really, really well, I feel like, but we can always improve on. And I remember before I began coaching, you can hear my baby in the background there. Before I began coaching, that is what really drew me in. I didn't care about the how-to of it, but I couldn't deny the energy that was like in the team and the things the girls were posting and like the vibrancy of my personal coach. I was like, what is it that she has? What is the secret to it? And I couldn't figure it out. And it was because she had real definite purpose in what she was doing. And she just exuded that in everything that she did. And then on the next page in 113, and if you guys are just coming on, we're on page 113, talking about the purpose story, top right page of 113. It says we're wired to want purpose and to give meaning to things. It's part of why story matters, but it's also why purpose matters so much in work. In a vacuum, we'll attribute meaning where none exists. We'll do the same at work. People want a purpose. If you don't give them one, they'll make up their own. And I just love that because I know as a community, we're helping people live happier, healthier lives. And we just need to talk about our purpose more and more. So I have other parts that really stuck out to me. But does anyone else want to share something?
Good morning. I'm kind of under the weather, so I'm not really sharing. And we have a new dog, so I'm being a new dog mom.
Are your grandsons better?
And I still have one home, so I'm dealing with that as well. So it's been crazy here. I'm gonna mute my phone.
So then while you guys are thinking about maybe what you want to share later on in that story, I'm sorry, in the same page 113, it talks about exactly how it is that we could share like a purpose story. So I wrote some notes and it says, I'm under that heading that says alignment around a goal or initiative. And, you know, we have our broad, like help people live happier, healthier lives, right? But I thought, in my stage of life, like what's a goal or initiative like I can help my specific niche with. And I have five small kids, 5 kids, 12 and under, and I stay home with them. And I feel like for the people that I want to attract into my business, into my challenge group, what I want is I want to help align moms in feeling more vibrant and like intentionally living their days. So that's something I'm going to start talking about more, intentionally mapping out my workouts and my business building activities and show them how it doesn't have to just be this like experience where from 6 a.m. till 9 p.m. you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, because I used to live in that reality and I just don't want to do that anymore. So that's a goal, a personal goal I'm going to share and be more intentional about in my stories. What about you guys? Is there like a goal that you personally want to share, like a purpose of why you're a coach that you feel like you could do like a better job of sharing in your stories or your posts or?
Well, for me, when I was a massage therapist for 23 years, and over that 23 years, it was appalling how large the bodies got. I mean, really, over 23 years, the lifestyles of people have just changed. And when they came for a massage, they wanted me to make them feel better. And I got to thinking about it early on and thought, you know what these people really needed from me was what they really need, rather than a 50 or a 90-minute massage to make them feel good. They needed a lifestyle change. And so that's kind of the message, but it's like, how do I do that delicately so that I don't hurt people?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
So
I actually think I can answer your question, although
okay.
I'm sure there are other, only because I just like in 2 minutes ago finished that chapter 7 and you said you were behind. So I don't know if you've read chapter 7.
Which is
It talks about let's see, the customer. No, it's okay. It's long story short, it talks about the customer story.
Okay. No, I haven't read that yet.
Okay, let me just give you like a synopsis of a story she shared in here, and
okay.
and I think it'll answer your question. So she talks about how there's years ago, McDonald's had an ad that they put out in the UK, and it was a story of a boy that was trying to, what's that? One sec here, got the baby. Okay.
Oh, hey.
He's like, what is this? Okay, so the story goes, there's a little boy, a preteen, sitting on his bed, and he's going through a box of his father's old things, like his belongings. He's like, and his mom walks in the bedroom and he's like, what is this, Mom? And she's like, oh, that was your dad. Your dad's meant so much to him. And he's like finding this way, he wants to find a way to connect with his dad, right? And they go on this long walk and she's showing him, oh, your dad loved that. And the little boy is discouraged. Oh, you know, I don't love that, you know. And they walk by a soccer field and the boy kicks the ball into the soccer field. He's clearly not as much of a soccer player as his mom was describing his dad to be. And so this little boy is feeling really sad because he's seeing the differences between him and his deceased father. Okay. And McDonald's is telling this story. Okay. And then at the end, the little boy is eating a fish sandwich and his mom gets teary-eyed because she sees some tartar sauce on his chin. And that is exactly what his dad loved about McDonald's, a fish sandwich for lunch. And he always got a little tartar sauce on his chin. And suddenly the boy connects that, oh my gosh, I am like my dad more than I thought. Okay. But she tells this story because this ad went sideways. And people were talking about how McDonald's exploited a child's like grieving process, you know, for this fish sandwich. So to answer your question, she said the solution is the customer story. Because if the little boy had told this story in his own words, nobody would have questioned his motives.
Right.
And it would have given it that much more credibility. So
okay.
Are you collecting that? Something I've not been doing. I need to collect more of my customer service stories. I need to ask them, hey, can you tell me? And she said to be specific about it. How has this program helped you in the last 30 days? Mm-hmm. And so I think go ahead.
Oh, well, back in the early part of this, there's a list of questions, and I wanted to put together a and I can't remember what page it's on. I'll find it to send out to send out a questionnaire to people that I'm already working with and say, hey, I could really use your help. Can you help me by answering these questions? And I can't even, here we go. Page 71.
Page 71. Okay.
Yeah. What, in other words, the new normal, what's your customer's problem? What pain are they experiencing? How do they feel? How is it impacting their life, their business? What's keeping them awake at night? And then the explosion. How does your product service solve those problems for them? How does, and you could rephrase those questions to people that are already using the products and just say, how have these products helped you with that problem?
I love that. Great. Yeah.
You know, and then just keep going down the list. And then how is life different after? How is your life different now? What's enhanced or improved? How do you feel? What pain points that you were previously experiencing have vanished, and maybe even take it a step further, and how hasn't it helped you? Because not everything's going to work the same way for everybody. So I know that was just a thought I had, because we have a ton of customers, and it's just a great way to reach out to all of them that, you know, maybe that would be a way to reach out to them in 1 month, you know, that I don't know if everybody sends out content to their customers, but I like to send out something. And this would just be, hey, just, you know, doing some spring cleaning here. How you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Can you help me here? Yeah, so that would be a great way for me to thank you. My mind's been all over the place with the sick kids and a new puppy and
I don't know. I'm going to jump on here just for 2 seconds, not related to the call or the book or anything.
You're a new grandma.
Yeah, but look at this, you guys. These are chocolate Shakeology muffins with a cream cheese frosting. Holy crap, they are so good, and you can eat 4 of them for breakfast.
Oh,
It says to make 6, but mine made 12. So yeah, anyways.
4 breakfasts there, or you can have it for dessert.
You got to share that recipe in the team page. Thank you.
I really love the chocolate caramel brownie fudge.
Is it good? I haven't tried it.
It's so good. And I put them in like a little muffin cup. That's how instead of laying it out and cutting it, because it's too easy for me to eat more than one. So I put them in those, and then we have a refrigerator out in the garage also. So I keep them out there. So it's effort to go get them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, post some of those recipes in the group. I would love to have some of those.
Okay.
Yeah, I just grabbed them off of Body yesterday. So
Yeah, if you go into the Beachbody blog, which is up, you know, it's up on the top bar, there in the drop down, it'll say blog, and type in Shakeology dessert recipes. They will all come up.
yeah, I'll post this anyways for you guys.
I was so mad because I went to Summit in St. Louis, and over in the corner, kind of out of the way of everything, they had this book called Treat Yourself. And I opened it, and it was all these recipes, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I came home, and I thought this would be a great like prize for a challenge group. It was $9. It was nothing, you know, and I wanted to order some more, and nobody could ever. And then all of a sudden they're talking about Shakeology desserts, and now it's all the big thing. So I'm kind of glad I got the recipe, but they don't have the book available. Sorry.
So
Funny
back to
trail.
yeah, sorry, I sidetracked that. Back to the book. The purpose story, it's interesting because I was just talking with a friend yesterday. I had a couple other people sign up, but I think that the trick to yesterday's success was sharing a little bit more about my story and the reason that I'm a coach, or you know, partnering with people to help them see results that they want to see, is just sharing those stories. And I was talking about my dad, because my dad he passed away last year, but he was a quadriplegic for 17 years. He lived in a hospital bed. And it was because of a stroke. And so it's just interesting, you know, I mean, that's been my purpose and my passion, because when he had his stroke and was a quadriplegic because of that, it was so crazy to me, the change in all of us, you know, because first it was just a downhill dive for all of us because the stress was high, the emotions were high. We were all like emotionally eating like crazy and sitting around the table talking and eating. Like that's what, because it was just this grieving process. Even though he was there, everything changed. And so to go from that to finally realizing, literally years later, it was like 2 or 3 years after that happened, I'm sitting on my floor in my living room, smoking a pack a day, eating Smarties and maybe having a yogurt, you know, like I wasn't eating healthy and I was overweight. And I'm thinking to myself, like, is this all there is really? Is this, what am I doing? My dad would give anything to be able to move his body, anything. And here I am wasting mine. And it was such a huge wake up call. And I started sharing that story a little bit more after our call last week, like trying to figure out how can I share it and still honor other people. And those kind of stories are easy to share, the purpose stories, because it's personal, you know? And so sharing that, the personal part of my journey and why I want to help people after I made the change and had, I mean, my entire, everything about my life changed. I mean, we've all had those stories where one moment in time changes everything. And sharing that story is so important, not only, you know, and it doesn't matter what you do. Like, that's the other thing too. Like, you don't have to be in our tribe of business people in order to have a story that will impact and be powerful to people. And maybe the story you want to share has nothing to do with this, but all of them are important. I don't know, I don't know if anybody follows Michelle Obama, but she has a new podcast that launched today. And I listened to that first episode and it was about purpose and sharing stories. So it was just really, another reason, you know, and about why we need to share stories and show empathy to other humans. And I don't know, I just, that purpose is important and it's personal and it's easy to share. And I loved that part of this book.
I love that. And I think a lot of people, like you're saying, Michelle, can relate to having a parent who's, you know, fallen, like, you know, really ill. And parent who's falling ill. And also, I think that's so great because it helped you see exactly what you don't want. I mean, so many people say, like, what do you want? And at the beginning, I was like, I know I want more energy, but I definitely knew what I didn't want. And it was, maybe I should share the story again. One of my first signs that I needed to do something about my health was after the birth of my second baby, when we had this long staircase up to the second floor in my house and 16 steps, I remember. And by the time I got to the top of the 16th step, carrying both kids under 2, I was like, I couldn't even breathe. I was like, I wasn't that heavy, you know? It's just that I wasn't doing anything about my health, right? Other than chasing kids. And now I know that that just wasn't like enough, right? And eating junk. But I definitely knew I didn't want to feel like that. So I love what you said there, that, you know, you didn't want to, you know, you knew you could have this opportunity and your dad would give anything to move his body. That's great. Okay, who else wants to share? Lacey, you want to share?
Sorry, I was trying to find my mute button. I didn't get a chance to finish the last chapter, but I just keep going back to pain points. She already talked about that earlier in the book, but you know, if we focus on the pain points that made us start our journey, then it feels like that's going to be the best thing to focus on when we do our stories. And you know, if we get testimonials like we were talking about from people, even ones that are just in our groups and not necessarily using all the products or whatever, their pain points can help other people. Even if we don't have to be in this to like sell anything. We can just be in this to influence people to start exercising. I've had so many people tell me, I had a gym membership for 5 years. I've used it like 7 times, but I started going every day because I see you doing this every day. And so then, I just befriend them. I encourage them. They start seeing the things I'm using, my pre-workout, my whatever. And they're like, oh, hey, what's that? And then I can they don't have to use our programs, but we can help them with supplements. We can help them to just feel good about themselves. But I really, really like the direction that Body has taken with the health esteem thing, because what other book was I think it was Atomic Habits, was talking about not shaming people because it doesn't do anything. It just makes them feel horrible, and then they increase whatever thing that they were doing. So if they have a chronic eating habit, you telling them that they're fat is just going to increase the problem. So I love the health esteem thing, just being like so excited for your journey and focusing on the journey rather than at what place you are in your journey. I love that they hired Lacey Green. She's awesome. She's so enthusiastic. And I love that she has a different body type than the regular trainers. Like, she's not Autumn, and she's amazing. And anyway, going back to pain points, I'm just really excited about all the things that are coming. And like, I love the change that they've made. I know some people have such a hard time with the change, but focusing on the and I'm still figuring out how to craft this and like share my pain points in a way that's going to connect with people. But yeah, I guess that's the main thing that I'm focusing on, is finding the pain point and then finding the solution that helped me, and then trying to portray that in a way that connects with people. I don't know.
Yeah, that's great. I think the way it was taught to me was talk to your former self in your posts, the pain points. So yeah, I think that's great. And I agree. I love the direction it's going. I think that actually sounds like a Brene Brown book. She's a shame researcher. And that's what I learned in all of her books about, you can't shame people into change. We love people into change. That's, it's very succinct, but yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. I can't remember what one I just listened to of Brene Brown's. Maybe that was, but I think, yeah. Anyway, it's changed the way I parent too. Those, those shame points. It's fascinating to me, and to see and my parents didn't know any better, but like going back and thinking about that stuff, those are other pain points that I could probably use, that my parents didn't know any better, and they totally used shame and guilt my whole childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And that just made me, totally different perspective. But yeah, like we're saying, another pain point.
There you go.
I think that's actually super powerful too, that shame and guilt thing. I had never thought about that until you just brought that up, but like using it as a way to break free from how we were raised, because that was a big thing from my parents too. Like, they would ask you to do something and then it would be like, never mind, I'll get it. And instantly you're just guilty, right? If you didn't do it fast enough or whatever. And talking about how we're breaking free from that's a great idea. I'm going to use that somehow. I don't know how, but I'm going to use that.
Brene Brown, in one of her books I've read, she talks about how they actually studied groups of people, and they wanted to see if the amount of shame that they felt was like, direct correlation. Like, how do you quantify this, right? Because it's shame's like a feeling, right? And they found that people who had the highest, like on whatever scale they made of shame, were criminals, prisoners. And I was like, what? So it was almost like maybe, I found that so interesting. Maybe they repeated this negative behavior and then they were shamed for it. And then they continue to repeat it. And that doesn't mean that, you can't stop what you're doing, right? But I thought that was fascinating. So love people need to change. Great message. Justin, do you want to share anything? I don't know if he's at work or what he's doing. And then there's another gal on the call and it just says iPhone. I can't see your name.
Oh, it's Jen.
Hi, Jen.
Hey, I think this is the first time I'm hopping on for the book club. So,
Awesome. Welcome.
but I'm on the customer story chapter. I'm not sure which number that is, but I started off where I bought the hard copy of the book because I thought it would be one that I'd want to like highlight and, see in person, but then I just wasn't getting to it. So I moved over to Audible and now I'm like hosting because I love Kendra Hall anyways. Like she was somebody I follow on Instagram, but just hearing her voice is really cool. But anyways, one of the things that like stood out to me with the customer story, it's like one of those things where you're like, man, I know that I should be getting more testimonials from my customers and I just don't do it. So that was like a good reminder of how powerful those are. But something else, I don't remember which chapter it is. I want to say it's in the founder story, where she talks about how like the founder story doesn't change. Like you tell it over and over again and it's the same. And I have such a hard time with that because I'm like, oh, I've shared my story, and then I won't like I'll change it or I'll like do something different. And I'm like, so that was like a really good reminder that like the story is the story and it's never too often to share it because I just don't do it frequently enough, really.
Yeah, we're like sick of hearing it, right? Like we think it's been told so many times.
Right.
But you're right. Every time I do share mine, people are like, I've never heard this before. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, aren't you sick of hearing this? I think it's great. Yeah. All right, I'm going to call back on Justin. I don't know if he's here.
Sorry, I'm just working away. But
hey.
no, one of the things that stood out to me was when she said, pick a date, a specific time, and be specific about your story. So it all started when on this day or something like that. That resonated with me because what it does is it brings people in and gets their attention, right? Like you said, it started when I was going up a flight of stairs, and all of a sudden now we're in your story. Now we're like, well, what happened? So that was something that resonated with me, is like making my story specific to a date and time, and almost like Star Wars. You know how it starts out right in the middle of the war, right? They're in the space and there's spaceships flying, and it's right in the moment of the action, right? And so that's what I'm going to do, and going to refine my story so it's right in the moment, and it's a specific date and time.
Great. I think that's a great idea. And I love reading people's stories. And honestly, it doesn't matter, what it's about. I've always just loved a good story, right? But the specific details, like she tells about in the customer story about, you guys have gotten to that, that's chapter 7. It's a story about deodorant. And it's, of course, a customer sharing it, but specifically the details, like Justin was talking about, was that she talks about how she wanders into her granddaughter's bathroom and sees deodorant on the, I think I'm telling this right, on the bathroom counter, and decides to just like try it. And it was like a healthier deodorant, right? It didn't have like antiperspirant and all the stuff in it. And so she decides to try it thinking this is not going to do anything. And she says in her 77 years of life, which sticks in my mind because it's very specific, she couldn't believe how well it worked. She lives in the South and she walked outside and she stayed dry all day and she didn't smell bad and all these things, but very good details. 77 years old, daughter's bathroom, granddaughter's bathroom. Great ideas. What else do you guys want to discuss? Just going back through the areas that I've highlighted.
I did like the customer story stuff and how she says like you have to ask for it for the customer stories, because I don't do that very well. So, and just the other day, we have a local greens company called Local Bounty. I think it's all over the US, but they have a growing facility right here in town. And they found me on Instagram, and because I was sharing like a box of their salad in my grocery haul, just like I get this and I try to buy local when I can, and this is an option you can grab. It's not any more expensive than anything else. And I don't even think I tagged them. I don't know how they found it. But anyways, they texted me and said, hey, we really appreciate that you shared our story and we'd like to send you a t-shirt. What size are you and what's your address? And so they're just, like sending me a t-shirt, and they said, if you could mention us a couple more times, that would be great. If not, that's fine too. And I was like, yeah, they donate also to the youth home that I work at. So I'm happy to share the story in multiple ways because I love what you guys do. And so, that's been exciting, but also a good reminder to me that when you're asking people to share basically what their story with you, that a little thank you card or a pack of Energize or anything in them, like a little gift is nice. Like I didn't ask for the gift, they just offered it. And so, and they offered it after I shared my story with their product, so like if your customers are saying, man, I feel so great, I'm down 14 pounds, which is one of my girls the other night, then, I jumped on and because I had read this and I had that experience. So I jumped on chat with her and I was like, I am so excited for you. Like you have worked so hard to, make this progress. And I just want to know, can I shout you out? Can I share your story? And what flavor of Energize have you wanted to try that you haven't tried yet? And so I just want to send you a little treat because I'm just so proud of you. And she was just like, oh my God, I want to try the strawberry lemonade, whatever. But like those little micro moments have such an impact. You don't realize it until you have it happen to you. And then you're just like, wow, that really is a big deal. It kind of feels cool. So getting those stories is going to be a focus for me in the next 2 months.
Can I show you something I learned from a coach? I'm no expert. Okay.
Yes, please share.
Years ago, I learned from a coach that, how like when people come to your Instagram page and they just try to see what you're about in like 5 seconds, right?
Right.
Like 9 squares or whatever. And so I have this, let's see if you can see this. I have this bubble here at the beginning. Well, I mean, all sorts of things, right?
Yep.
It's called results. And basically every time that a customer tells me I'm down 22 pounds, you know, whatever success, literally, I have more energy. I haven't been constipated, whatever it is, right? I ask if I can share it. And if they say yes, I put it on my story. And then you guys know how to highlight things from your story. Yeah. So then this has,
Laura doesn't,
Bubbles.
so share.
okay, hold on. Okay, so let me go. Let me go in to show you what this looks like, and then I'll show you how to highlight. Okay, so for example, see, this one is from 179 weeks ago, right? This is something a customer shared, and then with me, and I said, is it okay if I share it? You know, just put this on my story. She took her own picture. These were her own results after having her baby. Beachbody workouts helped me from home to lose all the baby weight. I feel like myself again. So then I just shared it, right? And then the next one is my own personal results and a tag, you know, like a link to a story. And let's see. Okay, then these are some snippets from my bod group.
Oh,
Just
that's
things
good.
people are saying, great. You know, phase 3 done. I'm finally seeing some weight loss on the scale. First time under 140 pounds in so long, right? It's like, I keep it very simple. Like, it doesn't have to be this like beautifully curated story or anything. Like, you know, everything from these workouts are so hard, but I love it. So, you know, anything like that, any positive. And so that's in my results bubble. Okay, so Laura, let's show you how to do this. You add a story. You know how to add a story.
Yes.
Here, unmute yourself so I can hear you.
I'm sorry. Let me just tell you one thing that's kind of funny. I heard somebody say that if you're not 30 and flirty, you should not be on Instagram or TikTok. So
Whatever.
I am not 30.
There is a massive Silver Sister community on Instagram.
Okay. All right. Okay. Sorry about that. Spiny hops.
All right. So go into, do you have a recent story that you shared, Laura?
I don't know. I hardly go in there. Let me just like. Oh no, I just put
Anything in the
pictures of-
last 24 hours is what I'm saying.
Well, it's not really a story. It's a video of my new dog.
Well, it's an Instagram story is what I'm saying.
Oh, yes.
Yes, it is. Okay. So go to the video. Okay. And then at the very bottom, you're going to see, I'm just holding it. This thing that says highlight has a heart at the bottom right there.
I don't see that.
Okay. See this
On their
little
stories.
highlight. So you have to click on your dog story.
I'm on, it's just a video.
Is it a post or is it a story that disappears in 24 hours?
It's a post.
Okay, so you can't, I think you can still.
Oh, so go into my stories. Is that that's
your stories? Yes.
okay, sorry. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming to the meeting. This meeting is going to be about all the barking that has been going on.
So at the
yes.
bottom of that, you should see the highlight button. Do you
See
see
the
it?
highlight bubble? Tap the highlight.
Yes, okay.
And then what does it say? Add
Oh.
to highlights.
Okay, so new. So put,
You could
Yes.
put my dog or the dog's
Okay.
name. Okay. And then you can have an entire highlight bubble for that dog, which honestly is awesome because people love pets and they connect over that stuff, right? They'll go to your page. Oh, this person loves dogs too. So do I, you know?
and then hit next.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait. Hold on. All right. It went on to, sorry.
It's okay.
Thank you for coming to the meeting.
There we go. I'm gonna put, I almost put Lacey Green in there as Winnie the dog. Okay, got it.
Okay.
Oh, I'm so happy. How do I
So
get
then-
rid of those bubbles?
You hold on, go back out into your profile. Do you see it on the front of your profile in your highlights?
Hold on just a second. View on profile. Yes, there's my
Okay.
girl.
There you go. So I think what you do is you hover your finger over it and then you can delete the highlight.
But if I want to get rid of a bubble,
If you want to
what do
get,
I-
if you want to get rid of the whole bubble, you look what I'm doing here. I put my finger over and I get this thing and it says delete
Okay.
highlight, edit highlight.
okay. Awesome.
Hey,
So
there's
Ashley,
I've been meaning to redo it, but like
where
Okay,
where
yeah,
do you get those
perfect.
pictures from? Where do you get those
I made
icons?
these on an app,
What's the name of the app?
Rona Designs, RHONNA.
And then how do you get them on there?
So what you can do when you do this, when you can hit edit highlight when you hover your finger over the highlight. So yours, Laura, will just look like whatever your post is, right? Whatever your
Right.
story was. But I think if you do edit highlight, you can edit the cover. And so I just made like, I put a purple background. It's just kind of like people use Canva. I am not fancy and I don't want to be. So I made a purple background because I love the color purple. And then I put a little sun on there. And then that's all of my results in there. But you can edit the cover right here. And you can pick from your photos.
Perfect.
Oh, that's
Okay.
cool. Okay. Awesome.
Oh,
Thank
I
you.
have a
Use
lot
it.
of work to do.
your photos.
Yeah, your photos. So
Okay.
it could
So
be,
you
it could just be a photo. It doesn't have to be something that I just wanted to make something, but it doesn't have to be that.
Okay.
And then that's
It's
also,
really cool.
yeah, that's also where you can change the name if you decide to change it later on. So mine says results, and you can even see all those things. You could delete individual things in there if you.
All right. So if I need more help, I know who to call.
I don't know everything, but I know a couple things.
I have a question for all of you. On page 130, it says purpose stories in the last company, Culture Frontier. And at the bottom, it says, do you know the story of how the company you work for got started or came to be? And I kind of know the story of Beachbody, but has anybody found a place that really highlights in chronological order? I think it started around 98 with Carl and John Congdon, and they made some little videos and they thought that they were really cool. I think it was Yoga Booty Ballet was one of the first ones, and they started seeing people post their results on message boards. This is back
Carl
in the
just
old.
talked about that.
Do you know where the story is? Because, and then they went on at some point to talk about how Tony Horton loaded up his little Volkswagen Bug and drove himself to California to become a superstar trainer. And I mean, I want to know where all that information is, because I think it's important for people to know that we didn't just start yesterday.
Yeah. There is on YouTube. Let me pull it up because I have it saved. There is a video on YouTube that I used to send out of Carl. It's called Carl Deichler Explains Team Beachbody, and he did it 10 years ago. He's super young in that picture, but he talks about kind of how it started and why he's offering it to coaches and how you should get involved. So it's a really, really early video. Like I said, it's 10 years old. But it just says Carl Deichler Explains Team Beachbody Coaching Opportunity. Okay. And it's.
Hello, my name is Carl Deichler.
Sorry.
I'm chairman and CEO.
I accidentally hit it.
You sound so young in that video.
He looks so young too. He's a baby face in there. But yeah, so that's kind of an interesting one. I've shared it because the coaching opportunity video that I used to share was women, all women, and how, you know, as a woman, you shouldn't join our team, like that kind of thing. It was like a really great video, but like a 6-minute video, but it was all women. There was not a single man in that entire video. And I have men that are interested in coaching sometimes. And so as my backup, I had the Carl Deichler one so that if a man wanted to know about the coaching opportunity video, I would send him that. So I really like our new one that's in the back office because it has men and women in it. It doesn't have women talking, it doesn't have men talking, which we need to get more of that, because I think it's just as important for the men, husbands, fathers in our lives to be healthy. Like, we don't want to live without our dads, and we shouldn't make our kids do it. So I really want to, work on that with my boys, because I have one son that's interested in coaching. So trying to find resources, from males, oh my God, so precious, to help him, because he's like, Mom, it's all girls, and I'm like, that you need to quit looking at that. Look at the message, not the people, because it doesn't have anything to do with who's saying it. It has to do with the message. So listen to it for the message, not the person that's saying, like, don't look at the image, look at the message. I said, if it helps you, just push play and walk away, and like, just listen to it. So anyways, but yeah, so that's why I found that. That's an early one, but I had never heard the story that you just shared about Tony Horton and a bug or something like that driving out there. I've never heard that before.
I just feel like there should be a whole like archive of those stories somewhere.
They've
I
shared
guess,
them at Summit before, that's what I remember.
yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
Yeah. Little bits and pieces, but never in
Yeah.
one place where you could go and like
I
find.
think I'm gonna send them a message. I don't
Are you
know.
friends with Carl on Instagram?
Yeah, but I also know Jemima, who's all, she's in, what does she do? She does content control. She's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know who I'm talking about?
So,
might
no,
send-
don't, but
Send her a message and just say, hey, is there a place where all this information is archived? I'll let you know when I find out.
yeah, or somewhere where it could live. Like, they could put a
Yes.
highlight bubble on the Instagram story or on Body Stories, because that's a
Yeah.
new Instagram. And
Because now that we've evolved into Body, it's like people are going to go, I don't know anything about your company. You must have just started, because there's no information on it. But it goes so far back, and just the whole evolution of how, I just think it's a great story with Tony and how all that started. And it'd be interesting to see how all the super trainers that are still with us started.
yeah, I love that. Maybe mention to her that we're reading stories that stick and want to have all the founder stories, and where would
Yeah.
you find them? Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I don't know Carl. I only had my picture taken with him once, Carl. That was when you could get close to him.
Yeah, he follows me on Instagram, so I can talk to him once in a while.
Okay.
I'm just gonna tell you guys, those cupcakes are so good. I ate one while we were on here and I was like, oh man, these will be a staple in my house. I will freeze them.
Have you all tried the mug cake yet?
Yeah, I did. I tried that last week.
It's so good, but I don't eat eggs. So I used a tablespoon of chia seeds with 2.5 tablespoons of water and used it for
As an egg.
as an egg. And it's really good.
Awesome.
Okay.
I
Sorry, I
think
kind of bunny trail, but since we were talking about founder stories, I thought, and
Yeah.
reading that. I mean, and then do you know if the company that you work for has ever faced challenges or setbacks in its history? Well, gosh, Carl last year at Summit said right before the pandemic, they went public. Remember that?
Yeah.
And everything crashed. And there they were, and people were leaving right and left. And, it was just like, it was a horrible time for him. But you would have never known that with him, because he kept so cool and calm and just persevered and figured out how to rebrand and rebuild.
Yeah.
And that's a huge story right there. I mean,
Yeah.
how many businesses did fold over the pandemic? Everywhere you look, companies have folded. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Right, well, we're almost at the hour. Anything else anyone was dying to share?
oh, it's just the four of us. Did we scare everybody off?
I guess so. Jen had to go get her kids, she said in the chat.
Yeah.
Pick up kids, yeah.
Mikey. Okay. I think I'm done, but thank you so much for
Yeah,
the
thanks for coming,
Instagram.
everyone. Great ideas. Work on collecting customer
Collecting
stories.
Customer stories, yeah,
Sorry.
that's gonna be a big one. All
Awesome.
right, well, thanks,
All right,
guys.
see you next week.
Okay.
Next-
Have a
oh,
good
what are-
week. Oh, do we
next
know, are we finishing up the book? Or do we know? Does anybody know?
Next
don't
week, we're
know.
finishing.
I'm guessing we are because there's not much left.
Yeah, it's been 50 stories per week, so next week we're finishing up. I
50
mean, 50
pages.
pages, excuse me.
Do
Yes.
we want to throw out some ideas for a new book? Or are we gonna take a break?
Remember, we have those two books we already selected at the beginning of the month,
Yeah,
Oh,
Compound Effect and can't remember the other one.
was it Think and Grow Rich and the Atomic Habits, or was it Compound
No.
Effect?
I think it's Think and Grow Rich and Compound Effect. I'm not sure. I think so.
Okay, we should send a message to Scotty. Maybe he can pick one of the other two names and post it in the group for us so we can get it ordered if we don't have it.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
All right. Have a great week.
Thanks, guys.
okay, thanks.
Justin.
Thanks, Ashley.
Yep.
Your story the other
Bye, guys.
day really moved me.